Next one is another Switch.
Hey guys, this is Logan Kite Gaming. Unfortunately, we lost in top 4 with our PK deck. This deck's missing a few cards because I did not have access to them, but I will explain that whenever I get there. Let's go ahead and get into the deck. This deck's a little bit different than most, I think. I think 3 Torn. This is the most important card in the deck. I definitely just want to see that card in every opening hand, and then 2 Cloak, 3 Boots, and Gloves. This should be a standard lineup right now. I was playing 3 of this at one point. I just felt like you just didn't need it. I didn't really miss it. It was mainly just to see Phantom Knight at a higher ratio. Then we have Extenders, Tatsunoko, Junk Forward, Tear Top, Tracker, and Wilder. That's the monster extenders. I don't play Jackalope, and the reason I don't play Jackalope is because I play Prosperity in my deck, because I want to try to get to Torn Scales with higher chances possible. So I cut Jackalope last minute. I didn't really miss it. These cards essentially do the same thing as this. This card is actually a little bit worse than all of these, because you don't really want to discard your bricks. You know, you don't want to discard Dasher and stuff. So yeah, I like the lineup so far. I know this looks a little weird going back on this, but I know this looks a little weird. Like you're playing a bunch of 1-ofs and it doesn't look good on paper. But if you actually just think about it, this is actually just, I think, correct, because this is searchable off Roto. This card does the same thing as the second one of these, except it's a machine, which is important because it plays around. There can only be one. It's a wind monster, so it plays around Barrier Statue. And it's also, since it's not a dark, and like this one doesn't play around that, but since none of these are darks, the only way you can play if they Protoss you, if you don't hand trap them, is being able to make Zeus. Zeus is like your go-to. So you need a non-dark extender, and I thought that was really important.
Which actually happened to him in top 4.
Happened to me top 4. Happened to me twice in Swiss too. I won 2 games that I got Protoss in Swiss just because I made Zeus and then just set a bunch of Fog Blades, and because they pretty much go all in on Zeus against PK because they think it's an auto win. Both of the BAs. I really do not want to run these cards, but I think you have to run them because of Lancius. If Lancia didn't exist, you could definitely cut these cards. But just because if you get Lanciad and you're only playing PK, it just ends your turn. So these are definitely important. You probably can cut them when Brave comes out though. That's definitely something. Then we have the other break: Scythe, Dasher, and Celestial. I always draw this one. I never draw either one of these. I prosperated into this one time and you just activate Fusion Destiny in 1. So yeah, you have to play these. Scythe's super important. Please ban this card. 3 Fusion Destiny. You want to draw this. Don't play 2. Don't play 1. Play 3. If you get hand trapped and locked, you activate Fusion Destiny. You can at least live a turn. And that was like the idea around this deck. I can try to play through. Most of the time you can play through 2 or 3 hand traps and at least end on DP plus a Fog Blade, which is pretty easy. 2 Prosperity. I should definitely have played 3 Prosperity, 1000%. This card is just so important to see Torn and see like your starters. And the fact that it can see side deck cards is also super powerful. Yeah, so I would definitely play this card. Going for this card was insane all day. Probably the best card in my deck. Like that wasn't like the standard. The Rhoda and 2 E-Telly. That should be standard. And then we played a lot of hand traps. This is super weird, right? Like most PK decks, they play like 6 going second cards. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to actually win going second, unlike most PK players, and not just be like a 50-50 coin flip. And like you can't just play board breakers because Protoss just literally wins the game, and Sword Soul's like a huge chunk of the metagame. Literally the most played deck you're gonna play against it at least 3 times in like a 7-round event. So,
I played it 3 out of my 6 times personally.
I think over half of my tournament was Sword Soul.
Yeah.
So 3 Ash, 3 Valor, and 3 Imperm. Some people might say that this conflicts with Shade Brigandine, but they just need to stop. Like, it's super situational. This card does, like, going first is mainly where Shade Brigandine comes up to, like, push through hand traps. And this card does not conflict with that at all. Going second, it does, but, like, their board should be weaker since you imperm them, so you should be able to still get around it. It only conflicted, like, 1 time with Shade Brigandine. But it was a game I probably shouldn't have won anyways. So 9 hand traps, and then I played 2 Droplet. only because I only had to. But honestly, I would side deck this card going forward. It's just, it does nothing against Protos. You have to draw it with multiple cards to stop Scythe. I think it's just like, Bird's very popular. It's very good against Bird if they don't do Oath, but if they do Oath, it's awful because this is all they're going to negate. And then you do not have enough cards to break their board. So I'd rather just draw hand traps and try to stop them from playing rather than drawing a card. But this card is very good. I could definitely still see playing it, but it was not terrific for me this weekend. So there's that. And then the traps, 3 Fog Blade and a Shade Brigandine. Don't play Wings. It's not needed. I don't ever go for the Break Sword pop like to dodge the droplet, but if you do, you can literally just activate DP during your end phase and pop this. So I don't understand, like, there's just no reason to play Wings. Like, unless you, like, Wings is just another brick. I'm just trying to play a consistent deck as possible. It's 42. Probably should be 40, but it's 42.
Just wanted to point out the amazing quality control at Konami.
Oh, look at this.
So, like, these are, the cool thing about this is there's 3 different commons. So you know that these are not consistently from the same pack. Every single one of these is damaged in the same way. This is insane to me.
That's terrible.
I'm sorry about your luck.
No. Konami, fix your stuff.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so the extra deck is Cherubini, most important card in the extra deck, and then we have Predaplant. I play IP because if you open Fusion Destiny, you make this. You know, you have an extra link to make, so why not IP? Just helps your inboard. Rusty, best card in the extra deck by far. I forgot Dagda, but Dagda. A lot of people don't know what this card does. My opponent impermed this, and I just activated a monster effect on his turn, and then just set Scythe, and then DP popped it. That was pretty funny. That happened like twice.
All slapping against me.
Activate Nightmare. Or activate Nightmare, sorry. I just said activate the effect, but Nightmare Uniform. I'm tired. This card's very good because I play Apollo. Or not Apollo, Access Code. Usually you can only pop 1 to 2 cards, but it's just super good, especially with IP. Being able to make this against like the trap decks is super strong. Max you can pop as like 3 cards though, usually. Al Mirage, Apollo, and Link Spider. You need both of these. These are mandatory, I think. This is really good because if you draw really poorly and you just open like one of the random Fam Knights, you can at least end on DPE. And if you're breaking in this deck, you're probably drawing a bunch of hand traps. So if DPE plus hand traps should win you the game. And then Apollo I never make. I didn't make it all weekend. The Xyz Monsters, Leviair, he's mandatory. He's really important because he's win. This is what you make because a lot of people fuck up and they either end on like Monk on their board or they summon Protoss in defense position and you just summon Leviair, attack, and make Zeus. And
Shout out top 8.
it looked dumb. 2 Break Sword. You can probably cut this to 1. 2 came up once. Zeus. And then the Short Phoenix Enforcers. Great card. The side deck. This side deck's a little weird because I wasn't sure like what all people would be playing today because I felt like it was going to be more of like a local meta game. So we played 3 Lancia. It hits a lot of decks. I thought it was very good. It was pretty good all weekend, or all day. 3 Nibiru. This card was not very good. 2 Token Collector. This card's insane, but definitely should be signing 3. If you draw this against Sword Soul, it's such a hard time for them to actually win the game. They just struggle the entire game because this is just like a looming threat that just comes back every turn. And the fact that you can just make like, you can just summon this, make DP, and just grind them out, and it's really hard for them to win. If you draw this, it can like, even if you get Protoss and you do this and they still Protoss you, like you can still win the game. It's pretty crazy. 2 Droll. I only played 2 because I didn't think there were going to be very many birds. And I lost to birds in top 4. So I can't really be mad about losing a top 4. I didn't prepare enough for birds, but I just thought the deck wouldn't be very highly played. I think he was like literally one of the only birds in the entire tournament too.
I think there's only 2.
There was literally 2 out of 50 people. So I played 3 Twin Twister. So the Logic. Well, I also played 2 Lightning Storm. So this could be Cosmic, but my deck loses to Lancia. So I don't really want to put another card in my deck that loses to Lancia. That's outside of my engine. Same thing with Lightning Storm. This could be evenly matched, but I don't want another card that would lose to Lancia outside of my engine. So yeah, that's the deck. A few things should change for sure, but I think the deck was really strong and it performed today. It was really good. So yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos, guys. Peace.